Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. Have you ever feel stuck at the intermediate plateau of English learning? Or to put it simply, no matter how much time you spend, you're just not improving. Yeah, I know that feeling. I've been there too, stuck at those zero progress moments. But then I make a few key changes that help me level up. So in this video, I'm going to break down exactly what I did to make that happen so you can copy my system to finally get your aha moment. Let's get into this. Let's start by defining what I mean by English level. To help you understand, I would like to use an analogy of developing software. At first, you'll build version 1.0, the basic model. You can speak with simple words and phrases, but not full sentences. You might write short passages, but they are full of grammar or spelling mistakes. If we use IELTS score as a guide, the level is probably below 5.5. Then you realize there are bugs in your English, so you keep improving it. Then you release version 2.0, the intermediate model. Now you can speak in full sentences and hold simple conversation. You can write a 200 or 300 word essay, but it is often vague or poorly organized. You still struggle with public speaking and elaborating on ideas. At this stage, your IELTS score is likely between 6.0 and 7.0. Then comes version 3.0, the advanced model. You can speak with ease, give presentations, or even debate. You're able to finish a whole speech or essay based on an outline. You can write long and clear pieces, including stories or 600 or 800 word argumentative essays. And most importantly, you can use English independently, without relying on dictionaries or teachers. This corresponds to IELTS 7.5 to 8.5. Beyond that, there is a version 4.0, the native-like model. You can use English like a well-educated native speaker. The well-educated part needs to be highlighted because we're talking about speaking like this person instead of this person. But for most of us, reaching this level is nearly impossible. We grew up in China, we're taught in Chinese, and carried Chinese culture traits, so it is very rare for us to reach true native-like fluency. That said, version 3.0 is a realistic and powerful goal. Many learners get stuck trying to move from 2.0 to 3.0 because it's very easy to reach 2.0. You finish school, pass the Gaokao, and pass the college English test. But getting to 3.0, it's a real challenge. So this video is all about helping you make that leap. You're probably tired of hearing me talking a lot of things like that. So now let's move on to the real deal. The first step to take is that we need to take English learning seriously. If you really want to speak English well, you can't treat it like a hobby anymore. It is not just singing a song or playing sports, which you do today, but not tomorrow. You learn English or do something related to English every day. And eventually, it blends into your life. You'll also choose not to escape the hard stuff. Complex articles, big books, or a debate or a keynote presentation. If you have a difficulty on English learning, you would like to seek for help and because you really want to solve the problems. Now you might think, well, I don't really find a realistic intention of taking English seriously, and that's fine because not everybody needs to take English seriously. But how do you make sure if you need it? Find your motivation behind that. That is to set your goal. And your goal needs to be SMART, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound, which helps you track your progress. I remember one whole year when I made no serious progress in English, even though I was still learning. Why? Because I had no purpose, no drive, no intention. But later, I found mine. First, even though I wasn't an English major, I still choose to make English part of my future. And it started with one big moment, a speech contest in college. For the first time, I had the opportunity to take on a big time challenges in English. That context may have given me a lot of chances to prove myself capable, and in order to not humiliate myself, I had to learn English hardcore at that time. That moment sparked my motivation. So find your motivation. It could be a top score you need for getting an academic promise or reward. It could be an ability to help you outperform others. It could be a workplace requirement. It could be a strong desire to get more knowledge in the English context. If you find it, that's when you pull English learning out of a classroom and put it into in field practices. Okay, if you have decided to take English seriously, what's next? Well, it's time to look at the basics here. And that is exactly what happened to me. I realized that what was holding me back, especially when I tried to write smoothly or draft a speech script, was that I didn't have solid basics. So, learning the basics is like moving from what it is to know how it works. Before that, you were just reading or listening to get information from a certain passage. But now you need to know how everything in a passage comes together. That's why you need to understand how grammar works, how vocabulary is built, how logic works in English. Here are two tips that help me with my basics. Tip number one, learn as you use. It is futile to just teach people plain rules or cram a ton of knowledge into them without teaching any rules. That's why many textbooks are confounding. They throw theories at you at the beginning, but if you haven't had really good experiences, you can't grasp those abstract concepts. Don't separate learning the basics from using English. As you explore English content, learn the basics along the way. Tip number two, use the right materials. The English basics here, from my perspective, include 7 parts: reading, listening, writing, speaking, grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation. Find materials that you enjoy and actually you can finish. If you want suggestions, I made a video about the materials that I used and you can check that out. You may start targeted practices on your weaknesses, such as subtle grammar and vocabulary details that you might have overlooked. Now, here is another important takeaway here. Basics don't come overnight. My mentor used to say that to me, and I couldn't agree more. If I remember right, it took me a year to become a basic user, then another 4 years to get to the intermediate, and another 3 years to make me believe that I stand at the advanced level. Sure, I had setbacks, I paused, I made mistakes. It took me longer than it should have been. So that's why I make this video, so you can do it faster. Still, it takes time. Like that 10,000-hour rule, any skill takes time and effort. So stay patient, don't chase the shortcuts, and don't be too hard on yourself. I know sometimes you'll see some statements like someone mastered English in 1 year, someone mastered English in half a year. And honestly, when I see things like that, I sometimes raise my eyebrow and feel like I'm a clown. Maybe some people are super talented, but for me, just a regular guy from a small town, I believe it takes time. And these videos where claims don't shake my conviction at all. Okay, here's the thing. Even if you've started taking English seriously, even if you have decided to learn English every day, and even if you have mastered the basics, you're still going to come across some difficulties. You might find yourself struggle to come up with a speech or write a long passage. So, what's the problem? Well, maybe something is going wrong beyond English. In other words, you are a good English speaker, but you don't have enough thought, content, or information to express in English. Because English is like a shell of a culture. It is a communication tool, a vehicle for carrying information, culture, knowledge, and thought. So without accumulating enough information, knowledge, and culture and thought in your mind, even if your English is good, you will still find yourself stuck when trying to express something. That's why, if you really want to become a good English user, it's time to look beyond English. And actually, this should be the original intention for learning English all along. We don't learn English just for the sake of English. We learn it for the sake of knowledge and exploration. We want to explore the world, but a lot of content in the world is presented in English. So English gets in the way, and we need to break that through. How can we gain something beyond English? One of the most important things to do is to regain our curiosity. Always ask why, and also remember to read and watch lavishly. Okay, recap for this video. We have covered 3 story steps. Take English seriously is the first one. Find your motivation and commit to learning every day. Master the basics, don't skip the fundamental skills, even if it takes time, which is the second takeaway. And thirdly, look beyond English. Dive into knowledge and culture and explore the world around you. And okay, that's the end of the video. I'm Shawn English here. Remember, happy learning. I'll see you next time.